This is the first time I've watched this and actually felt some type of emotion.
She stepped onto the court like she always does, head high, powerful strides, eyes focused. But beneath the surface, Coco Gauff was carrying more than a tennis racket. She was carrying the weight of the world. And yesterday, that weight finally broke her. In a moment no one expected, Coco, America's golden girl, the reigning U.S. Open champion, the 20-year-old powerhouse known for her fierce composure, crumbled before our eyes. And it wasn't because of a missed shot. It wasn't because of her opponent. It was something far deeper. When the cameras caught her quietly wiping away tears, turning her back to hide her face, fans were stunned. The girl who had inspired millions with her strength, who stood tall through criticism, losses, and pressure, was suddenly raw, vulnerable, human. It wasn't just a breakdown. It was a message, I'm not okay. What happened on court that day was more than a defeat. It was a cry for help, the kind the world often ignores when it comes from our champions. Because when someone wins trophies and signs million-dollar deals, we assume they're fine. We forget they're still just a young person trying to survive in the spotlight. This breakdown didn't come out of nowhere. It was years in the making. Since she burst onto the scene at just 15, Coco has had the eyes of the world locked on her every move. Every smile, every frown, every word she speaks is analyzed. She's had to grow up faster than most, balancing fame, expectations, and the quiet battles no one sees. Behind every powerful forehand and dazzling win, there's been a young woman struggling with anxiety, perfectionism, and the crushing fear of letting people down. She's admitted it in interviews before, that she puts enormous pressure on herself. That she sometimes cries after matches, even when she wins, because the tension is just too much. But yesterday, for the first time, Coco didn't hide it. She didn't mask the pain with a forced smile. She let it out, and the world listened. You could see it the moment she sat down during the changeover. Her shoulders trembled. Her hands gripped her towel too tightly. Her head dropped. And then, the tears came. Silent at first. Then unstoppable. It was heartbreakingly real. Her team rushed to comfort her, but Coco didn't flinch. She wasn't looking for pity. She wasn't looking for applause. She was just trying to breathe through something overwhelming. Something that had clearly been building inside her for weeks, maybe months. And what makes it even more emotional is that this moment came after a series of grueling matches. Matches she won, yes, but at what cost? We often celebrate our heroes for pushing through pain. We cheer when they say, I gave everything. But what happens when they have nothing left to give? Coco had hit that wall. And her honesty in that moment, her willingness to be seen in her most vulnerable state, was more powerful than any championship. The crowd sat in stunned silence. Some fans were in tears themselves. You could feel the shift. Suddenly, it wasn't about tennis. It was about humanity, about mental health, about the truth that even the strongest among us can break down. And this moment matters. Because young athletes, especially young women of color, are taught to stay strong, to be graceful, to keep their heads down and work harder. But Coco's moment told a different story. It said, strength isn't about holding it all in. Sometimes, strength is letting it out. It reminded us of other champions, like Naomi Osaka, who walked away from tournaments to protect her mental health. Like Simone Biles, who said no when her mind and body weren't in sync. These women aren't weak. They're rewriting what it means to be strong. Coco is now part of that story. After the match, she bravely spoke out. With glassy eyes and a cracked voice, she said, I'm just tired. I've been trying to be perfect all the time. And sometimes I feel like that's not possible anymore. Her words hit like a wave. How many of us have felt that way? Trying to meet everyone's expectations. Trying to never mess up. Trying to be okay when inside, we're anything but. And maybe that's why this moment matters so much. Because Coco didn't just break down for herself. She broke down for every young girl who's trying to be perfect. For every athlete expected to perform like a machine. For every person who's afraid to say, I'm not okay. Social media exploded with support. Fans, celebrities, and fellow athletes flooded her with love. One comment read, Coco, you don't owe us perfection. You owe yourself peace. Another said, thank you for showing us the truth. We love you even more for it. Even Serena Williams, the Queen herself, posted a quiet heart emoji. No words needed. Because everyone knows what it feels like to be Coco Gauff in that moment. To be young, talented, admired, and still silently screaming inside. And here's what we all need to remember. This breakdown doesn't define Coco. If anything, it makes her more legendary. Because being brave isn't always about winning a match. Sometimes, being brave means telling the world, I need a moment. She'll be back. Stronger. Wiser. More in tune with herself. But she'll also carry this moment with her forever. And so will we. Because Coco Gauff didn't just show us her pain. She showed us her soul. And in doing so, she gave permission for millions of others to feel theirs too. So the next time someone says, she broke down, you can say, no, she broke through. And maybe, just maybe, we'll all be a little more human because of it.